Don't worry, Jets fans. Only 2 games left to go in this wretched season, and I feel like it's about time to start looking ahead to the future. What do the Jets really need? There's a lot of people out there. There's fans, there's beat reporters saying this roster needs to be absolutely torn apart from top to bottom. But what do the Jets really need to the point where they can at least become a respectable franchise in 2026? The obvious answer would be the quarterback. But you know what we do here. We're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about 5 non-quarterback needs that the Jets have got to address before the first kickoff in the 2026 season. Plus, I got some 3 and out. I got some Jets trivia, and maybe we'll spin the wheel. Guys, you know the deal. It's Wednesday night. It's 6 p.m., and we are live. And well, welcome everybody back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am your party host, Wa2K99, here for our weekly Wednesday Night Live extravaganza. As I record, it is indeed Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to all of us who celebrate, and happy belated Hanukkah to those who celebrate Hanukkah as well. So, hey, I didn't have any red or green hats, but I still had a couple of leftover gold hats. So, hey, I guess it's kind of fitting with Christmas, and yeah, we got the green of the Jets field and we got the red frames. So I am feeling festive tonight. That's right. I am here on Christmas Eve for you. So I appreciate you taking some time to hang out with me on this show. All right, so we're going to get into the Jets in a few minutes. But before we do that, I'm going to say hello to a couple of people. The first person here, we are taking the highway to the danger zone. So buckle up and hold on tight. And he's responding to the title of our show tonight, Running Back 1. Okay. Running Back 1, I will address that particular position at some point during the show. Is it on my top 5 needs? You're just going to have to stay tuned and find out about that. We've got Pa2K99 holding down the fort in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all our listeners. Absolutely, definitely appreciate the support as always. And Dino's here as well. Linebackers, very important position. A position that does not get the kind of attention that it used to years ago when defenses were a larger part of the NFL, because the league is so focused on offense that there's certain positions that get overlooked, and linebacker is definitely one of them. Hey, if you want to talk about the impact a linebacker can make, all you got to do is look at the Jets' opponent this week, the New England Patriots. Look how they completely redid their linebacker room, most of it being in free agency, and look at the difference it's made. All right, so we're going to get into the Jets in a few minutes. But first of all, I got a few things on my mind. So let's talk about what's going on in the world of New York sports with a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. So the first thing that we got to talk about is the New York Knicks. They lost to Minnesota in Minneapolis on Tuesday. Not the biggest deal. Now they get the Cavs at the Garden. It used to be a tradition growing up. The Knicks would always get that 12 o'clock game. Christmas Day and Martin Luther King Day. It always felt like the Knicks would get those particular spots. And the Knicks would usually win because the other team would go out the night before and they wouldn't be ready for the 12 o'clock melee that would ensue. So this time it's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers, a noon tip-off. And Cleveland, very disappointing team, only 17-14 this season. Darius Garland, their guard, is not over his turf toe injury. How do you get a turf toe while playing on wood? I haven't figured that one out yet, but apparently it is turf toe. Watch, next thing you know, Mika Zibanejad or Matthew Schaefer or Jack Hughes are going to go down with turf injury playing ice hockey. I guess it's possible. You've also got Evan Mobley, their star center, who has been out with a calf strain. But Jalen Brunson, man, oh man, he is on a tear for the Knicks, and he is getting legitimate consideration for MVP. His last 8 games, entering Tuesday, 8 games before that, averaging 32.3 points and 6.8 assists per game. He is killing it. Now let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about the New York Mets for a moment. They trade Jeff McNeil to the Oakland / Kansas City / Sacramento / Las Vegas A's for a 17-year-old relief pitcher from Cuba. Now, I think the worst kept secret in the world that Jeff McNeil was going to be off this roster, okay? He was not going to be back for a number of reasons. The fact that the Mets added Jorge Polanco and Marcus Semien told you the writing was on the wall. And we know this about McNeil. He has a temper. He's not always been the best clubhouse guy. We could talk about the raccoon, and I can appreciate a guy who shows he cares, by slamming a helmet, throwing a bat. Paul O'Neill used to do the same thing for the Yankees. Here's the problem. When your performance continues to deteriorate and you're still doing stuff like that, and you're being that demonstrative in such a negative manner, the crap gets old after a while. It really does. And he was here for 8 years. He was a Met for 8 years. I give him credit for lasting that long. 2 All-Star appearances, batting champion 2022. But he's 33 years old, 1 year to go on his contract. It was time for him to go. He didn't fit anymore with what the team is doing to get rid of the core that have been here basically since 2018 and 2019. And hey, I hope Sacramento has some great golf courses because he's better at hitting a golf ball than he is a baseball nowadays. As for Yordan Rodriguez, the Mets' new pitcher, he is 17 years old, pitched for the A's in the Dominican Summer League in 2025, 2.93 ERA in 8 games, 96-mile-an-hour fastball, can throw a slider a little bit. Very raw, but the kind of pitcher the Mets are going to try to develop from a very, very young age. So that's about it for that. As far as the New York Giants go, they lose to the Vikings 16-13. They're still stuck at 2 wins, a 2-13 record. And that happened despite – did you see the hit Brian Burns put on J.J. McCarthy to take him out? He basically disemboweled the guy on that one sack. And, of course, that turned into the Giants' only touchdown of the day as Tyler Nubin ran it back to the house. But the amazing thing to me is how Jackson Dart's play has deteriorated. Since Brian Daboll got fired and Mike Kafka became the head coach, Dart is averaging 63 fewer passing yards per game, 15 fewer rushing yards per game, 1.4 less touchdowns per game. Now, he had 3 interceptions in 7 games with Brian Daboll as his coach. In the 3 he started since, he has 2 interceptions, and multiple interceptions have been dropped. Now you throw Andrew Thomas limping off with a hamstring injury. Darius Slayton, he's good for at least 1 good drop a week. He's basically Alan Lazard. And the Giants defense, when they had a chance to get the ball back and give it to the offense with a chance to win the game, they could not make the tackles that they needed to. So they still hold the number 1 pick, and we're going to get into the draft standings tonight. We're going to go deep on it. And we know what's next for the Giants. Bright light city, gonna set my soul on fire. Viva Las Vegas. Giants, Raiders. Some people are calling that game the Toilet Bowl, but you know what? That would be disrespectful to toilets because unlike these 2 teams, toilets are actually useful. All right. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. A couple quick hellos. The great David D is here. All I want for Christmas is meaningful football in December. Won't be this year, my friend. Won't be this year. Dude, I just want to be alive. Well, the Jets were alive technically in December, amazingly, for the playoffs, but I just want to get on the In the Hunt graphic, the still in contention graphic or whatever they're going to call it. How many years has it been since that was the case? But I will say this. You don't have to deal with as much stress as a lot of these other teams. I got to say this. I was watching, I spent most of the afternoon at home today. I was watching the Bears-Packers highlights, but specifically I was watching Packer fans react to that overtime loss to the Bears. And the way that they're talking about the Packers, talking about how these guys are losers, how this is embarrassing. I'm like, walk a freaking mile in my shoes, pal. You think the Packers are embarrassing? I understand they haven't won a Super Bowl in over 2 decades, but you know what? Oftentimes in playoff contention, I was trying to say perennial, but it didn't come out correct. Often in playoff contention. It must be Foster Brooks or something like that. Old reference for you. But always in playoff contention, always has a good quarterback. It's embarrassing to be a Packers fan. Well, what the hell is it to be a Jets fan? My goodness. The great Jets mess. Wicker! How you doing, Mess? Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays to you as well. Oftentimes the first one here, but Dane beat you this time. But I'm very happy you're here. And the great Ivan Gonzalez. Merry Christmas to all my Jets. Merry Christmas to you as well, buddy. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and briefly recap this absolute disgrace of a loss. Recapping Game 15, the Jets get beat down in New Orleans, 29-6. It was a close game for a while, but even through the first half, it never felt that close. You look at some of the final stats. First downs: New Orleans with 23, the Jets with 12. Third down conversions: the Saints converted 8 of 17 third downs. The Jets 2 out of 15. That stinks. Total yards: the Saints 412, the Jets 195. Yuck. Jets took 7 penalties in this game. They have 3 straight losses of 14 points or more. First time that's happened since 2019. We're going back to the Gase era, guys. But look on the bright side. At least they were not down by 20 points in the first quarter. A couple things on the offense. Brady Cook in this game reminded me of early Sam Darnold. Super conservative, happy feet constantly, always under pressure nearly the entire game. Brady Cook in this game threw one pass that traveled over 9 yards in the air. 9 yards in the air. One pass. That was it. Don't you occasionally have to take some shots down the field when you have some receivers who have a little bit of speed? Even if it's a 50-50 ball, take a chance once in a while. Maybe you get a pass interference call. But we are throwing these dink and duck underneath garbage passes. I just want to throw the ball down the field occasionally. I know our offense stinks. I know our roster stinks. But can we have a couple of plays that could generate a little bit of excitement? But under that much pressure, he had no idea what to do, and it resulted in sack after sack after sack. 8 sacks by the Saints defense, including on consecutive plays by a 36-year-old Cam Jordan, as you see him celebrating here in this photograph. Plus a stripped sack by our old buddy Nathan Shepard. Oh, Nathan Shepard embarrassing the Jets. Hey, Mike Maccagnan, he knew something. Put it this way, Mike Maccagnan was definitely better than John Idzik. I'll give him that much. But back to Brady Cook. Here's a stat that is just crazy. Now, there's a stat called pressure to sack rate. Like, you were pressured this many times, so let's say you're pressured 16 times, and if you were sacked 8 times, that would be a 50% pressure to sack rate. So you want that number to be low. His pressure to sack rate in this game was 72.7%. Translation: 3 out of 4 times when he got pressured, his ass hit the ground with the ball in his hand. At Missouri, it was only about 23%. You are looking at a quarterback who right now was good in college, but right now has no idea what he's doing. No idea what he's doing. And it's interesting how the sack numbers went up. It's very interesting. They went up once Cook went in the lineup, because it's very easy to say that the offensive line is responsible for every sack. It's easy to do that. But you got to look a little more closely. When the quarterback is holding the ball too long, a lot of times he might be doing that because the receivers can't be open. Or you're Justin Fields and you're just terrified to throw the football. I don't think Cook is afraid to throw the football, but I think he is looking very carefully to make the best play that he can, but he's being too careful, and because of that, he's getting belted. And that isn't going to work. But with the offensive line, I will get on John Simpson. I'm getting tired of John Simpson. Yes, he's tough. Yes, he brings some edge to the game. Yes, he's been playing hurt, but I'm tired of the penalties. The chop block he had on that 4th down play, so costly. And he is good for a penalty or two every single game. I mean, I know AVT has an injury history. I know. But the upside is way higher with him than it is with Simpson. Prioritize bringing back Elijah Vera Tucker first. 1-year deal, 2-year deal, whatever. Even if it's a 2-year deal you can get out of after 1 year, I want AVT back, and I want him at left guard. That's what I want. I want Olu and Armand at the tackle position. I want AVT and Tippmann at guard, and then in center, go after a Tyler Linderbaum or even an Ethan Posich from Cleveland. There's a couple of good centers hitting the market. But Josh Myers, I know they just signed him to a new contract. I'm sorry, he is still the backup on the interior offensive line. I don't want him starting next year. I don't want to settle on the offensive line. Don't want to do it. So I want to build around this offensive line. I still think that they're very, very capable. I know the sack numbers have looked very ugly over the last week, but I think, again, that is on the quarterbacks holding the ball too long. And a big reason for that is that nobody's getting open. So it all works together. The leading receiver. Hey, here's a great trivia question for you. You guys know we do the trivia towards the end of the show, right? Here's a trivia question. Just think about it for a few seconds. Who was the Jets' leading receiver in this game? Who had the most receiving yards? You don't have to put an answer down in the chat, but just think about it for about 10 seconds. Who would you think it is? A.D. Mitchell? John Mechie? We know Mason Taylor was hurt. Tyler Johnson? Breece Hall? No. It was Isaiah Davis. Isaiah Davis, 52 yards. That was the leading receiver in this game. Not acceptable. Jeremy Ruckert, fresh off signing his extension, looked like he reverted back to his rookie season. By the way, did you know he's from Long Island? Yeah, I thought so. Several penalties by him. Again, I want to see some new talent before I start getting rid of coaches. They fired Steve Wilkes. I don't need to see any other assistants going, okay? I want Tanner Eggstrand to get a chance with some new players. Again, the Jets got all this cap space coming up. They got all these draft picks coming up. Give Aaron Glenn and Tanner Eggstrand the chance to build up the offense that they have with the players that they are not inheriting, with the players that they want to bring in. This year, they were not going to spend a ton of money. They signed a lot of cheap one-year contracts, guys like Josh Reynolds at wide receiver. Just one example. Andre Sisco at safety. Anybody remember him? Derek Noddy, Byron Coward, guys who never saw the field this year, either because of injuries or because they were just terrible. So I still want to see these coaches get a chance. And I don't have any interest in letting Aaron Glenn go at this point. Now with the defense, again, what are you getting out of what you have to work with? It was Chris Harris's first game as defensive coordinator. And we have to remember, some of the starters in this game were the Clarks, Dean Clark, Jordan Clark. I couldn't tell one Clark from another. I thought it was a rule in the NFL. You got two guys with the same last name. You need to put a D and a J before the Clark name. There was just Clark and Clark. It sounds like a law firm. Welcome to the law firm of Clark and Clark. My gosh. And Jordan Clark, holy crap. How about this guy? He allowed 11 catches for 96 yards, 3 missed tackles. Woof. Quantez Stiggers was starting a cornerback, and you know what? I thought he actually played better in the cornerback position this week. I thought he actually did step up a little bit. Well, let's see how he does the last 2 weeks, but I was encouraged by his play this week. I thought he played much better than he did against Jacksonville. And then you throw in a lot of snap counts for Jarius Monroe, Braden McGregor, Michael Clemens, Michael Walker. On a playoff team, these guys are on the practice squad if they're lucky. The highlight of their season would be getting called up for a game and seeing the field for a single snap. With the Jets, they got to play half the game. Hey, let's give them credit for one thing. Second play of the game, the Jets recover a fumble. Wow. Amazing. But 15 games. And most people, as most of us know, this is now a record. 15 straight games, no interceptions by the defense. And there wasn't even a chance in this one. It wasn't like the previous games where there was a drop or it deflected off this guy and the ball was suspended. It was never for a second did you think they were getting an interception. But again, when you can't get pressure on the quarterback, your odds of getting an interception plummet. By the way, quick reminder, guys, please hit that thumbs up. Please hit the like button. Please share the channel with a friend. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Just a quick plug. Remember, we get to 15 likes or $15 in Super Chat. We will spin the wheel at the end of the show. But Taysom Hill, he's done nothing most of the season. He torched the Jets. Torched them every time he was in the game. His lone pass, a touchdown to Chris Olave. They couldn't handle the fakes. They had no idea what to do with Taysom Hill. Tyler Shugg, they made him look like Drew Brees in his prime. 32 completions on 49 passes, over 300 yards. How about that for a number? 49 pass attempts, only 25 rushing attempts by the Saints in the whole game. And remember, the Saints were down to their 4th and 5th string running backs. No problem. And Juwan Johnson, the tight end, he ate up the Jets like a freaking shrimp po' boy down on the bayou. He was Ridiculous in this game. Juwan Briggs, good for him. Another sack. He definitely looks like a building block. Again, very good trade by the Jets. Will McDonald did have 1 sack. Great. Jamien Sherwood, I thought, played incredibly well. He looked like last year's version of Jamien Sherwood. 11 tackles, 1 sack, 2 run stuffs. Quincy Williams, holy hell. Oh, my God. What happened to this guy? He was horrible. Even with the new defensive coordinator, Sherwood looked better. What's Quincy Williams' excuse? Constantly over pursuing, out of position. I'm sorry, you cannot bring him back. He's going to be looking for at least 10, 12 million a year. You cannot spend that money on Quincy Williams. Draft somebody, get younger, use the money elsewhere. And I got another question. Why did the Jets sign Peyton Page, defensive tackle from Clemson? Why did they sign him to the 53-man from their practice squad only to not activate him for the game? What was the use? Because we needed to see more of Jay Tafele? And all the best to Jay as he got hurt in the game. But can we play a little bit more of the younger talent, please? A little bit more? Because what we've been seeing ain't working. Special teams, hey, there's nothing really to say other than what we've been saying. Nick Folk made 2 field goals. Austin McNamara, great again. High arching punts. And it's a shame. It's a damn shame he only finished 10th in the Pro Bowl voting, because anybody who's watched him know he is easily a top 3 punter in the NFL. But, hey, when you're the Jets and, people aren't really able to see your games, that's going to hurt you. This isn't like wide receiver where you just look, how many touchdowns, how many yards, how many sacks if you're a defensive lineman? What do you go by? Net yardage return for the punts, So typically when people vote for the Pro Bowl, they're just going to vote for the punter who's on the best teams. Typically that's what's going to happen. So it's a shame, but he was great again. And once again, the Jets faced a kicker, and Charlie Smith, who was booming all the kickoffs right out of the end zone, taking the Jets' kickoff return, making it obsolete. And we have to remember that special teams, as exciting as they are, they might win you 1 game, 2 games at the most during a season. But you cannot count on special teams when there are so many ways to counter it in today's NFL. As the NFL continues to make efforts to take kickoffs out of the game, that hurts the ability to use the return game. And all you're down to is punt returns. And let's be honest, with this Jets defense, you're not seeing a whole lot of punt return ability in these games. So it really hurts your special teams ability. Jets mess. AVT is soft. He's had fluke injuries, really. They have been fluke injuries. The problem is when he gets them, they're serious injuries. They're tricep tears, they're Achilles tears. But when he plays, he's really good. And again, that's why I would say an incentive-laden contract. I would do it. The great Rusty Spooner. Connor Hughes is back to running his mouth, making up BS, telling the NFL he heard from the Jets brass the Jets are tanking. Meanwhile, his team is the Giants, and their record is worse. Well, he covers both teams. So, when you become a reporter, and I was a sports writer at one time out in Chicago, you do have to set your rooting preferences aside if you have them. My biggest issue with Connor, and I listened to the podcast he does with Zach Rosenblatt. I enjoy it for the most part. But he is so down on the Jets cornerbacks, and I think he's a little bit too harsh on them. On Stevens, Brownlee, Thomas, I'm willing to roll with them as my 3 top corners next year. Qantas Stiggers is my 4. I'll roll with it. So I do think he is being a little bit tough. And he's using the word overrated a lot, kind of like Joe Beningo does. It's like, this guy's overrated. This guy's overrated, bro. It's like, he said, Sauce is the most overrated player, bro, in the NFL. Let's be honest, bro. And it's somewhere between, but I did somewhere between Joe Beningo and Vince Russo. Oh my God. Yeah, and they said Quinnen is the 2nd most overrated player. They just let the Jets take their love for football right out of them. Now I know both got hurt, but Quinnen was looking like a bit of a difference maker when he was healthy and playing for Dallas. Wasn't he now? So I don't want to hear about how this roster is overrated. I don't. I'm sorry. I still think a lot of these players are very good. They do need to be coached better, and they need to have better talent around them. They may not be, in the NFL top 100 list anytime soon, but I still believe they are good, useful players for the most part. Talk about guys like Brees, JJ, Will, guys like that. Bro, all the love, David. All of it. Rusty, not a fan of Connor Hughes. All right, I'm not going to put on the but yeah. I hear you, Rusty. I hear you. All right, so let's get into the snap counts right now. So first of all, we're going to talk about the offense. So 68 snaps in this game for the Jets on offense, up 10 from the previous week. Brady Cook played all 68 snaps. Then at running back, you have Breece Hall playing only 37 snaps in this game, down 7 from the last week. Isaiah Davis got a big uptick, 26 snaps. Andrew Beck played 11, which I like the idea of. I like seeing Andrew Beck on the field because he can block. Khalil Herbert, and pretty much once we're in garbage time, Breece was onto the bench, and Davis got more time. Khalil Herbert got more time. Wide receiver, A.D. Mitchell leading the team with 54 snaps. John Mechie down to 50, a little bit of a drop for him. Isaiah Williams played 41 snaps. Alan Lazard, played 15 before he was gone. Well, Lazard, wait a second. Lazard? Wait a minute. Yeah, I think that's right. Let me double check those numbers real quick. I'm just going to try something real quick, guys, because I don't think. I don't think that's quite right. And if I don't have it, then then we'll just have to improvise. But I'm thinking, I don't think that's the right slide, the right snap slide. I think that's the last week. Because I know I had it saved. And if not, well, I got a couple ways around it. Yeah, Arian Smith. All right, well, no big deal. Yeah. All right, bad job by me on that one. I think these are last week's snaps, but Tyler Barron, Kalen Saunders. All right, well, I'll remove that one. Bad job by me on that one. I think I know I wrote down the snap counts, but they don't seem to have saved. So, all right. Well, I'm just going to improvise this one. So I'll just kind of read it off. All right. So Jets snap counts versus the Saints. See, like I said, we're imperfect at times. It does happen. All right. So here we go. So Brady Cook played 66 snaps, played the whole game. Yeah, Breece played 42 out of 66. Isaiah Davis played 24. Okay, yeah, so that was it. Okay, so just those two running backs. So they were never on the field at the same time. Let's see. John Mechie and A.D. Mitchell both played 57 snaps. Isaiah Williams, 51. Then after that, you had Tyler Johnson at 9, and Arian Smith played 7. Little decrease from last week. But yeah, Tyler Johnson was back in the lineup. He had 1 snap over the last 4 weeks, which is kind of surprising because I got to be honest, I like Tyler Johnson. He can stretch the field a little bit, but he has not been playing much as of late. Okay, and as far as the defense go, the tight ends go, you'll do the tight ends. Jeremy Ruckert, 44 snaps, 67%. Stone Smart played 20 snaps. Jelani Woods played 13 snaps. Andrew Beck only played 5. Okay, so they divided up those snaps a good amount. We had the 5 offensive linemen play the whole game. On defense, defensive tackle. All right, so the Jets defense, let's see, they were on the field for 78 snaps. Okay, so the 78, you have Harrison Phillips at 51, Juwan Briggs at 54. Jay Tufele played only 11 before he got hurt. Kalen Saunders played 30 snaps in this game. So he got the third most reps. Linebacker, defensive end, pardon me. It's a little bit different on this website. Jermaine Johnson, 62 snaps, 79%. Will McDonald played 57 snaps, 73%. Michael Clemens, 38 snaps, that's 49%. Bray McGregor played 18, that's 23%. Jamian and Quincy played the whole game, 100%, all 78 snaps. Michael Walker got on the field for 26 snaps, that's 33%. Then at the cornerback, Stevens and Stiggers played the whole game, all 78 snaps. Jordan Clark played 42 snaps, 54% of the game. That's 42 more snaps than I ever need to see him play again. Jarius Monroe got on the field for 1 whole snap. I'm sure that was exciting for him. And at safety, it was Malachi Moore and Dean Clark playing all 78 snaps. Yuck. Woo! Woo! My goodness. The Danger Zone has returned. Merry Christmas, Adam and WA2K community. How you doing, buddy? Again, go check out Dane's channel. He has been getting some good guests as of late. I think I saw he had Jets Chaos on recently. So, yeah, definitely subscribe to Danger Zone if you haven't already. Any banjo music this week, David D asks? it wasn't really that big of a day for special teams, so I don't know if I got the banjo in me this week. I don't know. I don't quite have it. Yeah, we got to see something exciting on special teams. Yeah, special teams has to give us the banjo. You know what I'm saying? But again, we have to remember this is the New York Jets, and as Greg Giannotti said himself,
this is the New York Jets, where careers come to die, and the worst memories of your life are born.
It just sums it up so succinctly, doesn't it? Robert Bartolo is a legend. I'm not. I don't know if Pa 2K is here, but if he was here, it would probably be reading mystery novels. I'm trying to. What would Pa 2K be legendary for? Yeah, definitely reading mystery novels. That would be up there. Eating Vienna fingers. That's one of his indulgences. Yeah, he could take down a sleeve of Vienna fingers. So those are pretty dang good. I do have to say. I just don't know if I would want to eat a whole sleeve of them, unless I wanted to be up for the next 36 hours. But yeah. So yeah, probably the best Braves, Cowboys, and New York Rangers fan you'll ever want to meet. I know there's a lot of people out there like that, but Braves, Cowboys, Rangers. So that is the story. All right, guys. So let's get into Tankathon. I know I got this right. So just end the season. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, boy. All right. So I'm going to sort of, I think I can shrink myself down a little bit. Yeah, just kind of cover my, yeah, that looks better, actually. All right. So right now we're just looking at the top 9 because the worst the Jets can finish now is 9th in the draft. So let's look at where we are. So you've got 2 2-win teams in the Giants and Raiders, of course, playing each other this week. You got the Browns, Jets, Cardinals, and Titans. So the Cardinals actually just flipped the strength of schedule with the Titans after Monday's game. So that was a reverse. That's why Arizona is now ahead of Tennessee. You got the Washington Commandskins in there at the 7th spot, 4-11, and then you got New Orleans and Cincinnati at 5-10. I think we all know that the Jets are not getting to 5-12. They're not getting anywhere near those 2 teams. Now, we look at the strength of schedule. So again, the Jets are at 539. That's not good because that is a high strength of schedule. Jets have played a lot of winning teams, and that does not work out in their favor come the first round. Again, if they finish tied, all right, with all these teams, the way it would work, it would be Cleveland, Jets, Arizona, Tennessee in the first round. Next round, second round, you reverse. So then it goes Tennessee, Arizona, Jets, Cleveland. Okay, that's how that works. So we look at this, and the green is good for the Jets, and the red is bad. So the teams that are right around them, Arizona, Tennessee, and Vegas, those are the only teams that have a worse that have a harder strength of schedule, I should say, than the Jets. The Giants are 0.08 better. But again, I'm going to say this again. If the Giants and Jets finish tied, well, what you got to root for, and this is pretty crazy. I'm going to get to the schedule in a few moments. But you got to watch Philly Buffalo. And that game is nationally televised. And if you're a Jet fan, you are rooting hard for Philadelphia because that makes the Giants' strength of schedule harder and the Jets' strength of schedule easier. So it's Fly, Eagles, Fly, or whatever that ridiculous song goes. All right, so that is going to be big. The Jets can still catch the Giants in strength of schedule. Big, big, big. Cleveland, not a chance. At this point, you're not moving more than like 0.10. Okay, so the Jets will finish ahead of Arizona. They'll finish ahead of Tennessee. Cleveland will finish ahead of them. They are very close to Vegas, though. It is very close, but remember, the Jets have 2 hard games left, okay? They still have to face the Jets still have to face Buffalo and New England, whereas the Raiders are facing the Giants and the Chiefs. So their strength of schedule is probably going to pass the Jets. So the point is, if you're looking for the Jets to finish number 1, you really need the Raiders to win 2 games. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I am saying that's what you pretty much got to look for. It's not going to be easy. It's like the Giants got to win their last game of the year against the Cowboys. All right, so lose to the Raiders, beat the Cowboys, and you need the Raiders to win both games. And somewhere you need Cleveland to beat either Pittsburgh or Cincinnati. Now, I'm going to put this all on a chart, so you'll have it in just a moment. So let's look at the Jets draft projections. So last week, The average draft position was 4.5. It is now improved to 3.9. And of course, as I've said, this is from ESPN, the Pro Football Index. It projects the rest of the season. They simulate the rest of the season 10,000 times. So we have moved up to fourth, basically. So we're in the fourth position right now, which makes sense. The chance to earn the number one pick has dropped, down from 5.7% to 2.5%. So they're saying don't count on that number one pick, Jet fans. But the chances to earn a top 5 pick have gone up 70% to 81%. So they are definitely saying count on a top 5 pick. And the Jets have now secured that top 10 pick. It is now at 100%. And we know it's going to be at least top 9. And I'd say it's almost a guarantee that it's going to be top 7. All right, so that's where we're looking there. Let's go on to the chart. First overall draft pick and draft position. So they basically have the Raiders and the Giants at a deadlock. They're still projecting Vegas to finish first overall, but they give the Giants slightly better odds at 36.9%. It's strange, but obviously this is going to change very drastically after the late slate of games on Sunday. Then you have Cleveland at 24.2%, the Jets down at 2.5%, and Arizona's got about a 0.0001 chance of getting it. Draft position, Raiders and Giants tied at 2.5, Cleveland at 2.8, Jets 3.9, and Arizona 5.1. So basically, they're telling you the Jets are going to finish fourth. Okay, so now let's look at the draft power rankings. Jets still well ahead, 13-19. Next is Cleveland at 12.59. A good distance behind them, you've got the Raiders, and then another long way down, you've got Pittsburgh. And then everything starts to bunch up, starting with Miami, onto the Giants, and so on and so on. But definitely the Jets have the most valuable upcoming draft. Translation, if they want to make a trade to move up, they could do it. Now, the remaining schedules. So I think this is important to look at. So you've got the Giants finishing with the Raiders and the Cowboys, two teams that are obviously terrible, that are done right now. Here's the thing. We know what the Raiders are, but Dallas is weird because you don't really know what you're going to get from them. And Dallas, to me, is still a team that could beat up on a bad team. Like, they could still score points. So who knows? I still think the Giants got one more win in them, though. The Raiders, they got the Giants and the Chiefs. All of a sudden, these are both winnable games. I mean, the Chiefs, if you watch my prediction video when I was doing my confidence picks, I said the question to ask is, do the Chiefs care about this game against Tennessee? And it was pretty obvious that they didn't. They were benching everybody. They put a bunch of players on season-ending injured reserve today. Players like Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie, Rashee Rice, their seasons are over. Kansas City is barely even going to be trying hard over these last two games against Denver and Vegas. So it is very possible, even though Vegas is on the road, that they could beat the Chiefs. Then you've got Cleveland. You know they're always going to give these division opponents a fight. I mean, a lot of division games here in the last 2 weeks to close it out. They're home against Pittsburgh, then they go to Cincinnati. You never know what might happen there. The Jets, as we know, New England at home, at Buffalo. To quote Steve Summers, that's a loss. And then Arizona. If you want to look at the next level, Arizona is at Cincinnati and at the Rams. Count on them losing a little bit more. And Tennessee, home against New Orleans and at Jacksonville. So those two teams can continue to lose. But again, I don't expect the Jets to win to beat New England or Buffalo. I don't know anybody who does. But I just want to give you sort of a bigger picture on these remaining games for these two teams. The great Billy SBC. What's up, guys? Happy holidays. Hey, Billy, I'm glad you're here, buddy. We're just talking about Tankathon, breaking down the remaining schedules and trying to get a feel for what is coming up. Now, remember, it's a very interesting schedule this week. You've got 3 games on Christmas. You have 2 games on Saturday. Then you have your usual Sunday slate. But remember this, the 4 o'clock slate, if you're on Eastern time, there's only 2 games. Only 2. Giants, Raiders, and Eagles, Bills. Both those games are enormous for draft position, especially, like I said, Buffalo, Philly. If the Giants and Jets finish tied, that game could determine who has the better draft pick in the first round. So again, go Eagles. That will be absolutely enormous. Absolutely enormous. And Giants Raiders, and I got to be honest with you, I am so morbidly curious to watch that game. I may stay at the sports bar where I go and watch the game with the other Jet fans in the Raleigh Durham area. I may stay late just because I want to monitor both games. I may, and to be honest, it'll probably be a better watch than the Jets Patriots. I think we can all pretty much guess that. All right, so I wanted to also point out the strength of schedule. So this is from the Tankathon website, and this is just a general strength of schedule tiebreaker if you want to go really into depth. So these are the games that can affect the Jets' strength of schedule and who you're rooting for. I've already said Philly, Buffalo. You got 2 stars there. It's extra important. After that, it's all 1 stars. Washington against Dallas, Kansas City against Denver, Green Bay against Baltimore, Indianapolis and Jacksonville. I'm sorry, I'm rooting for Jacksonville regardless. Indianapolis needs to lose, and lose some more. Tampa Bay versus Miami, Seattle against Carolina, Tennessee against New Orleans, Arizona against Cincinnati, and the Rams against the Falcons. But far and away, as I said, the most important one is Philadelphia beating Buffalo. And I also want to take a moment and talk about the Colts pick. Now, it is still 18th. It is going to be somewhere in that 14 to 18 range. It most likely appears. There are a couple of teams with 6 wins, but to be realistic, right now I'm just focusing on the 14 through the 18. So one of the things that is working against the Jets is the Colts have a very hard strength of schedule. Not much different than the Jets do. The Colts' strength of schedule is 537. Translation, if there's a tiebreaker, they're likely getting the later pick. And the only team they're currently tied with right now, amazingly, is the Detroit Lions. I can't believe the Lions are only 8-7. That finish to last week's game against Pittsburgh, losing that game the way they did, was stunning. I never expected them to lose that game to Pittsburgh. So we got to root for Detroit to win a game because that is who they are tied with. Detroit plays Minnesota on Thursday. So root for Detroit in that game. And their last game is against the Bears. And the Bears very well may need that game. It's going to be interesting to see if they do or not. But definitely need Detroit to win a game. So because of the strength of schedule, I think to be realistic, it's going to take the teams in the 14 to 16 range. Baltimore, Minnesota, Tampa Bay winning 2 games to pass Indianapolis. And the interesting thing is Minnesota plays Detroit on Thursday. So those 2 are going head to head. But can Baltimore win another 2 games? I mean, with Lamar Jackson as beat up as he is, I don't know. And, Baltimore loses, they're done. Tampa Bay, they got everything to play for. They win their last 2 games, they win the disgrace of a division known as the NFC South. So I think that could happen. But the big one to me is Detroit. If I had to project this, I really do think Indianapolis will finish in the 17 spot. So based off this, I would expect the Jets to have picks 4 and 17. It would really take a perfect storm for Indianapolis to drop further than 17. But they have, I think right now, their playoff odds about a 2 to 3% chance of making the playoffs. Look, they're not going there. Okay, I can promise you, the Colts, I'm guaranteeing it here, will not make the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
I understand, Jim. They've lost 5 in a row, as it clearly says right here on the chart. Hey, David, I may not have given you banjo music, but at least I gave you Jim Mora, so I hope that's a good consolation prize for Christmas. Jets mess. A Vegas win will be a miracle. They gave Houston a fight. I don't know. I would have thought that last week, but you know what? Ashton Genty's playing well. I know they put Brock Bowers on IR. Pete Carroll's coaching for his job. He's not going to want to go out losing game after game after game. We know the Giants are terrible, and the Chiefs are completely demoralized. I think they can win one of them. But I'm just worried if you look at the strength of schedule, like we talked about, I don't know if a tie is going to be enough to pass them. It might take 2. It might take 2 wins. I think it's going to take the Giants winning 1, the Raiders winning 2, and the Browns winning 1 for the Jets to get to the number 1 spot. I really think that's what it takes. I certainly don't think it's going to happen. It is possible. I'm just saying it's possible. If the Jets could at least just get to number 2, I would be very happy with that at this point. Rivers is helping Indy quite a bit, Billy says, but that defense is playing awful. They are. Rivers gets them 27 points, and the defense lets up near 50. That San Francisco offense is a machine. It is just so good. It is so. How good is the NFC West? That was one of the few predictions I got right. I said Seattle, LA, and Frisco would all make the playoffs. And that is, that is going to happen. The Niners can still get the number 1 seed in the NFC if they win out. That's crazy. As beat up as they have been, for them to be the number 1 seed, you talk about a number 1 seed coming out of nowhere. That would be it. But, man, the NFC West, it's not even close, is the best division in football. The NFC North is very good too, but the West to me, that is creme de la creme right there. And the other thing I would say with Phillip Rivers, I thought he played well until Robert Saleh started sending the blitz after him. At that point, I thought he looked a little bit unsure, a little bit concerned. I think that's when the offense really started to go downhill. But, yeah, you're right. Without Sauce, without Charvarius Ward, they can't cover anybody, Indy. It's just not happening. Trevor Lawrence is going to – I'm glad I have Trevor Lawrence in my fantasy championship this week. I'm actually benching Lamar Jackson for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trevor Lawrence can carve that defense right up. Just like a Christmas turkey, goose, prime rib, leg of lamb, whatever your choice might be. So, and one more thing so that's pretty much it. I could see the Pig getting the 17. I just don't see it getting better than 17. That is where my mind is. Jags beat the Colts 36-19, but that was in Jacksonville and without Rivers, right? That was the game where Daniel Jones got hurt, right? So, yeah, at that point he was coming in. Riley Leonard. Yeah, I don't see Indy winning though. I don't either, unless Jacksonville takes their foot off the gas, and it doesn't look like they're doing that after what they did to Denver. You know, if I'm Liam Cohen, I'm banning them from getting on social media, reading a newspaper. I don't want my players reading their press clippings because now finally Jacksonville is starting to get a little bit of respect. You know, they were in the Rodney Dangerfield camp for so long, and I don't get no respect at all. Man, when I was a baby, my mother breastfed me through a straw. So. But I do think that Jacksonville will definitely win that game. I'll be releasing my confidence picks. I'll do the confidence picks in the morning, probably late Thursday morning. I want to make sure I get the video out before the Christmas games start. So, yeah, so I will definitely be doing that, and probably Friday. Yeah, and sometime on Friday I'll get the Jets Patriots video out. Hey, Assist, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you. What's the point of talking draft picks when every Giants and Raiders fan thinks we're giving every pick to them for the next 3 years for a quarterback? They can hope. And again, why would the Raiders? I can't imagine the Raiders would trade out. They are going to stay on the board and take the best quarterback that they could take. The Raiders are not going to trade with the Jets. And with the Giants, I guess one of the biggest questions, would the Giants trade with the Jets? Now, if I'm the Giants, I would not be so petty and childish as to say, well, we wouldn't trade with the Jets. The Jets are not even in their conference. And if I'm the Giants, as many holes as I have, I need as many picks as I can to reshape that roster. You know, I want to make it attractive for the new head coach, whoever it may be, Marcus Freeman, whoever else it may be. And getting more draft picks can go a long way towards helping that. So it's a little difficult right now for me to imagine the Jets trading up, because I think they would have to pay an absolute premium to get past the Raiders or to actually make the trade with the Giants. So I'm hoping the Jets can at least get to 3, maybe, but we'll find out. Oh, you like the Dangerfield more than the Benigno? I've actually done the Benigno more times than the Dangerfield. I haven't done the Dangerfield too many times, but yeah. Oh, what a crow! What a crow! I need to wear a red. I need to wear a red tie to really have the Dangerfield thing going. You know. Billy SBC, get the number 3 pick, sit tight, get your quarterback for free. You know what? If Mendoza and Moore both declare, then I think that's realistic, because I don't think the quarterbacks are going 1-2 in this draft. I just don't see that happening. But again, will Dante Moore declare for the NFL draft? It's not the slam dunk that it used to be, you know, with players coming out to play, because with that NIL money, make a little bit of a living doing it. So But Billy, I do like the idea. I don't want to be trading up. Like, even if we traded up one spot, even if we went from 3 to 2, I can still imagine that taking either another first round pick or multiple second round picks. Like when the Jets moved up 3 spots to get Sam Darnold, it could be something like that, because 3 to 2 is about as valuable as going from 6 to 3, because those first 4 picks are extra valuable. That's the truth of it. So. All right, so let's go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. All right, so let's do a little bit of news here with what's going on with the Jets. A couple of injury updates for us. Justin Fields was placed on IR to the shock of absolutely nobody. As far as missing practice today were Jay Tufele, Will McDonald, Mason Taylor, and Kiko Mauagoa. Patriots have quite a few injuries at this point. They got 3 guys, I'll get to the Patriots in a little bit. All right, so I just want to give us a little reminder on the draft picks and what they have to work with. 2026, 2 first rounders, second round, 2 second rounders, 1 fourth rounder, 2 fifth rounders, 1 sixth rounder, and 4 seventh rounders. Here's the important thing to remember. Yes, the Jets have a lot of draft picks to work with, including 8 picks on day 3. But when you look at a lot of these are going to be late. I mean, the 5th round pick is a comp. The 6th round is Baltimore. You would expect that's going to be somewhere in the 20s of that round. Same thing with the Buffalo pick. Tennessee will be early. And then 2 comp picks were essentially the very end of the draft. So you have to wonder, how much are you really expecting from those picks? That might be a spot where you actually do go get a kicker, as a for instance. So this is really going to be on the scouting, on the front office, to figure out where can we get talent late in this draft? What are we going to target? So first round, second round, obviously, and everyone's going to be focusing on the first 2 rounds, on those first 2 first round picks. But I would argue the second round picks will be as valuable, almost as valuable as the first round picks, because for years, the Jets have struggled to develop second round picks. There have been a few good ones, but not many but a lot more failures than successes. And really, the best teams find value in that 3rd round, in that 4th round, and they did. Even if their second round picks aren't Pro Bowlers, they become at least legitimate starters. And the Jets absolutely need to do that. I'm not saying all of these picks have to be home runs. I'm not expecting that. But we better hit on those first 4 picks, and we better find some value in the 5th round, in the 6th round, and hopefully somewhere in the 7th round as well. So there will be opportunities to remake this roster. I'll just be very interested to see where they go. Hey, Rusty, first and round trade ups. Are you saying New Orleans first and second round trade ups, or no? I just want to make sure. No first and second round trade ups. Are you saying? I don't know if you mean no or New Orleans. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you mean no. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. So Rusty does not want to trade up. Rusty likes trading down. Rusty is a trader downer. So, Assist says, I could see later rounds being where the Jets try to get secondary help akin to what happened the last couple of years. That makes sense. It does make sense. And you could definitely get a linebacker, I think, later on that you could develop a little bit, get a little more depth on the – I would like to get some defensive tackle help down there. I feel like you could get some good defensive tackles from like a small school, kind of develop them. I think that's possible. Edge rusher, I think, is very difficult. I don't ever want to be the person who says, okay, with this pick, we're going to take this position. With this next pick, we're going to take that position. I don't ever want to do that, because you pigeonhole yourself when you do that. But I will say this. If the Jets make all 4 of those picks in the first and second round, 3 of the positions at some point better be quarterback, wide receiver, edge rusher. Those 3 positions must be addressed. And I feel like I'm almost getting ahead of myself into the main contact. But Sherwood, Michael Carter, guys like that who are drafted late and developed. Good, decent starters. Look at the Idzik 12. Actually, I don't want to make you look at the Idzik 12. That'll drive you all the chugging liquor. But so many of the Idzik 12 picks, and I am not making any excuse for John Idzik. He was the worst general manager I have ever seen for any of my teams. Any of them. Mets, Jets, Rangers, Knicks. He was as bad as it got. Idzik was the worst that I've ever seen. But many of the picks in the Idzik 12 were day 3 selections, and nearly all of them busted. Quincy Enunwa was the best of the bunch, really. So, do not forget. Oh, my doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombots. You know my Dr. Vinny Boombots? Anyway. Danger zone. Assist the kin. Okay. Pigeon, holy. Danger, you drunk? Oh, Rusty's already got players. That is Rusty. He's already got certain players for certain picks. 105, Daryl Jackson Jr. He's enormous and good. 178, linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. He's awesome. Rusty's Diamonds. It's pretty funny. Billy, it would be nice to know what positions in the lower rounds historically actually contribute to an active roster. I'm sure there's a way to figure it out, but I will do a little bit of research on it. But I think we can imagine which positions don't tend to work out as often. I would think, running back would work. I feel like tight end, you have to go like top couple of rounds to get a legitimately good tight end. Who are the best tight ends in the NFL right now? Sam Laporta, I know he's hurt, but he was drafted in the first couple of rounds. Trey McBride, he was drafted high. Same thing. So just a couple examples. And I know there's exceptions to every rule, but I feel like you have to get a tight end high, and you often have to get a quarterback high. So just a couple examples. All right, let's get into the 5 non-quarterback needs. And I'm not ranking these in any particular order. I'm just saying these are 5 things among the many that the Jets have got to address if they are going to be any kind of a credible team next season. And one of them, I'm just going to leave this on the screen. I'll just make that a little bit smaller, is the starting wide receiver. Garrett Wilson is a top 10 wide receiver when healthy, at least in my mind he is. And after that, we know it's nothing but role players. Tyler Johnson, Josh Reynolds, A.D. Mitchell, John Mechie, Isaiah Williams, and several of those players are free agents. But the wide receiver room needs an overhaul. Okay. Yeah, keep Mitch. Mitchell will be here. Mechie, I believe, will be here, but we'll see about that. I'm fine with Mitchell as a depth receiver, as like a number. I hate to say number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that kind of a thing, because that's very easy to do. But I don't know if NFL teams look at receivers the same way. But if A.D. Mitchell is your third receiver, now you got something. The Jets, whether through the draft or free agency, need to find a starter or through a trade. They need somebody on the other side of Garrett Wilson who will take away the ability for the other teams to double team Garrett Wilson. Because all you have to do is double Garrett, and it's pretty much game, set, match. And a big help would be Mason Taylor developing. Obviously, he's injured right now. But if Mason Taylor can make a little bit of a jump next year, that will go a long way towards helping this situation. So, yeah, because right now, by the way, A.D. Mitchell is the primary pass target. I would like for him to be the number 3 or number 4 pass target, ideally, in an offense. So, number 2 is solidify the interior offensive line. And we've already addressed this, but AVT, John Simpson, decisions have to be made on them. Do you keep Tippmann at guard or move him back to center? I think the expectation is he stays at guard. Josh Myers was just signed to an extension. Do the Jets plan to use him as the starting center again, or is he the backup? I want him as my primary backup because he may be good, but it's a spot you can upgrade with a Tyler Linderbaum, with an Ethan Posich. There's a number of good centers who are going to hit the market, and that's a position I wouldn't even mind somebody in their early 30s. I wouldn't mind a little bit of age there, a little bit of experience, especially with 2 very young tackles. I would like that. Pat Coogan, offensive center, pick 257, Brent Norfleet. He's very underrated. Brent Norfleet, the tight end. Okay. All right, I'll check that out. Billy, we know a 6th or 7th round kicker can be an instant contributor. Yes. Yep, that is definitely true. Maybe these lower round additions are contributors on special teams mainly. And, hey, I think we would all trust Chris Banjo to get those players rolling and to get them contributing because, after all, you know the deal. It is Chris Banjo.
Storybox Audio.
Storybox Audio. Okay. All right, yeah. I wish I could have found a Christmas song played on the banjo, but it's not quite as much fun. So, all right, there we go. So we have to look at edge rusher as well. That is huge, and I don't think a year ago we would have imagined we would have been in this situation. Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, to me, are serviceable players. They're okay players, but they are very limited in different ways. So Will McDonald is a big question mark because the Jets have to make a decision in the offseason if they're going to pick up his fifth-year option. And that fifth-year option is going to cost somewhere around $15 million. Would I be willing to sign him? Yes. But the truth is, if you can get a day 2 pick for him, if you can get like a third-round pick for Will McDonald, I'm open to making that trade. But then you need at least 2 edge rushers. So I would at least shop Will, but I don't think I would take anything less than a third, or maybe like a fourth and a fifth or something like that. But I would really like a third-round pick if at all possible. I don't know if this is the right fit for him, this type of defense. Will, it seems like he needs a very specific type of scheme to thrive. And at times he has, but we have seen his production be very stop, go, stop, go. He does nothing for 3 weeks, then he gets 3 sacks in 1 game. The best edge rushers are consistent. The best players, the best athletes do it week in, week out. Will does it 1 game a month, and that is just not enough to commit to a long-term contract to him. And also I would look at coverage linebacker. Now, Quincy Williams took a major step back this season. I really think he needs to find a new home. I'm basically out on him at this point. He has had a terrible season. He's getting up there a little bit. Obviously, his brother is no longer with the Jets. I think Quincy Williams will definitely be looking for a new home next year. And I'll give you a name right now for his replacement. Alex Anzalone, the linebacker from Detroit. He'll be 32 years old next year, but he has been huge for Detroit. Remember this, and if I've been surprised about one thing this year, only one Detroit Lion player came to the Jets, and it was Josh Reynolds. There has been practically nobody who has known Aaron Glenn, knows how he coaches, helped to instill, I know we hate the word, but the culture and the expectations, what is required of these players. And I have a problem with that. So I will look at Alex Anzalone. I think this defense improves a great deal if he's on the field because he could play that middle linebacker role and move, he can play that Mike role, the Mike linebacker as they call it, and move Jamie Sherwood to an outside linebacker role where he's much better. I think that makes Jamie a better player, and I think it makes the defense a lot smarter and a lot more fundamentally sound. So Alex Anzalone, and we'll do a free agency preview in due time, but that is a name that I am watching for right away. I see we got a few more people popping into the chat. Hello, folks. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Feel free to leave a comment in the chat if you would like. Of course, please hit that thumbs up button. Remember, we get to 15 likes. We will spin the wheel. We are a little bit short of that right now. 15 likes or $15 in super chat. We will spin the wheel at the end of the show. Sella would give a call for McDonald. Billy said, I bet Jeff Ulbrich would too. I bet he would recommend him down in Atlanta, although they do have a pretty good pass rushing situation over there already. So Kenyatta Jackson from my Ohio State Buckeyes is a baller and demon. 100% can get him at pick 46 currently. Okay. Yeah, pretty much once the season is over, I'll start diving into the college stuff, trying to get a head start on that. Yeah, I will definitely be spending some time on breaking down different positions. Last year, I didn't even imagine the Jets picking a cornerback, and yet they drafted A.Z. Thomas, and I barely had heard of the guy. So I gotta be more prepared for more positions this year for sure. All right, another position up, Danger Zone with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your content as well, my friend. I actually dropped by and hit a like on your show on Sunday. I wasn't able to chat, but I did give you a thumbs up, so I definitely appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. So also impact safety. It's funny. The Jets went from under Mike McCagnon. Safety was the best position on the team with Jamal Adams and Marcus May. And I know safety is not the most important position in the NFL, but it's been overlooked too long at this point. I can work with Malachi Moore as a starter. He is fundamentally sound. I like what I see from him. By no means am I saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler, but I trust him to get better and better. I want to see a better safety alongside of him. Look at what the Jets have put out there at safety. Andre Cisco, Isaiah Oliver, Tony Adams. Oh, gosh, I do not need to see him ever again. The Clarks, Clark & Clark, the law firm. I want to see the Jets invest in a good safety. That's a place I would go in free agency. I want a safety who's been around a couple of years and can help contribute and bring some leadership to the defense needs some leadership. It really, really does. I think both at linebacker and in the secondary. So that's what I'm looking for there. And so those are my 5. But on a side note, just a side note, yeah, Dane, hit this later, but would you call running back a need or a sneaky need or not? Dane, it's like you knew what I was about to talk about. I wanted to talk about this. I would sign Breece Hall to a contract. I would not use the $14 million tag. I think it's a little bit too much money. I would sign him to a 3-year deal, about $30 to $35 million. I don't think I would go past 12. I don't think he has earned that. I don't know if Breece Hall is quite the same player. And even though I'm a big Braylon Allen fan, I'm not ready to say that he is the team's number 1 running back. Now, if you want to go Allen and Isaiah Davis and then draft a running back with one of the lower draft picks, I can't say that I would hate it necessarily, but I would want a good speedy back. I like different types of running backs. Like a good rock and roll band has different types of guitar players. Maybe one who's more of a picker and one who's more of, a rhythmic style player. I like having different styles of running backs. So if you do that, then I want a speedster, just like a raw young speedster from like a small school, go 6th round, go 7th round. I would not hate that. But with Breece, I think it would have to be a situation where, I can't pay him like he's a top 10 running back. I can't go there. If he wants more than about $12 million a year, I think I might have to say, thanks, Breece, but we're going to go in a different direction. So I can't say that it's a need, but it's an opportunity. I think that is the best word. Assist says, we need Breece, in my opinion, to have a reliable hand if we're getting the rookie quarterback. This year, we got away from checkdowns, which are a bread and butter for rookie quarterbacks and a strength for Breece. I will give Breece credit. He's been better at catching passes this year because last year he had a lot of drop problems. Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis can catch out of the backfield a little bit. But I don't like Breece as a blocker. I think Braylon is a little bit more capable of being a blocker, for one thing. I don't know. You make a good argument. But again, I don't consider Breece, like, he's a good running back, but he's not, he's certainly not Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not on that. He's not on the level of a Jonathan Taylor, a Bijan Robinson, a Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, please. Maybe he's in the 10 to 15 range, somewhere in there. And if he wants to stay with the Jets, then fine. But it has to be a friendly deal for both sides. So I wouldn't say I would pay him like $7-8 million, but I would go about to. And again, of course, it always comes down to guaranteed money. So, do you make it a situation where you can get out of it after 1 year, after 2 years? I would commit to it for 2 years. So maybe like a 3-year deal where you have a reasonable out after 2 years. If it doesn't work out, something like that I think would be fair. So I would like to keep him, but it's not like it's a situation with the Mets with Edwin Diaz or Pete Alonso where I'd be really upset if they left. If Breece leaves, I'm just not going to be brokenhearted about it. I'm not. But again, you have a good quarterback who could throw the ball. He has some receiving weapons. The defense isn't as in the box with 8 defenders as much to take Breece out of the game, which is what's been happening for a while now. Better passing game makes a better running game. That's pretty much it. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove that. Let's get into the game preview. We'll talk about the Jets-Patriots game for a moment there. Yes, I went back in time. I'm trying to remember happier days. Here's LaDainian Tomlinson running through the Patriots defense. You see Brandon Merriweather with a feeble attempt at tackling there. Feels so good to look at that, doesn't it? All right, so 5 things to know about the New England Patriots. They clinched number 1, they clinched the AFC East with a win and a Buffalo loss. Number 2, by the way, we're at 14 likes, guys. If you want to spin the wheel, we need 1 more thumbs up. Number 2, Milton Williams, their defensive tackle, their prize free agent signing from Philadelphia, is designated to return from IR. So his 21-day window has opened up. It is not known yet if he will play this week. Number 3, the Patriots have 3 players in concussion protocol in Trevion Henderson, Kayshon Boutte, the wide receiver, and Jared Wilson, their left guard. Number 4, this is an interesting one. The Patriots have identical turnover numbers across the board. On defense, they have 8 interceptions, and they have 8 fumble recoveries. On offense, they have thrown 8 interceptions, and they've had 8 fumbles on offense. So 8-8, 8-8. An even 0 turnover ratio. At number 5, just a little bit of a silly note. The Patriots this week signed former Jet wide receiver Brandon Smith to the practice squad. Clearly, they're worried about the Jets, so they've decided to call on Brandon Smith, our preseason superstar, for a little bit of a scouting report. So clearly the Patriots are terrified of heading into MetLife Stadium, especially when there will be about 55,000 freaking fraudulent New England fans in the stands. Please. Dane, I like Adam. Appreciate that. Like you too, dude. Oh, guys, well, it looks like we have hit our goal. We have hit 15 likes. So we will do trivia in just one moment, and then we will spin the wheel. I don't know if I have the... I don't... Yeah, let me... I'm just going to check something really quick. We're not going to do the 100, I don't think, but let's see. We'll do a couple. We'll do like 2 position wheels, I think is what we'll do. Yeah, we'll do that in a little bit. Yeah, like maybe, like a Jets. Maybe we'll do like a Jets running back wheel. Maybe we'll do something like that. Yeah, I should probably create a wheel for what wheel we're going to do. Okay, guys. So it is about that time. Every week, you know what happens. Every week, I head down into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge, and I bust open the books. I dust off the Encyclopedia Britannica. I pull up the Jets dark web, and I, Watsu-K99, challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in the National Football League. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you're ready, you better be ready. Let's play. Jets trivia. So tonight's question, I'm going to give that to you in a moment, and you guys know the rules. I'm going to put 5 minutes on my clock, and I'm going to put the question on the big pretty screen, and then it is up to you all to put the answer or answers down there in the comments, and I will let you know if you get it correct. I can promise you tonight the correct answer is not Greg Salas. I went a little bit easier this week because I think last week I just made it way, way, way too difficult. So tonight's question, as Rusty continues with his diamond, Cedric Alexander. I think that's a pro wrestler, but anyway, that's Cedric with a C. I love from Vanderbilt. Okay, not bad. Assist, 54-18. Assist, really? You think this says 54-18? I have a question. How the hell are the Jets getting 18 points? I'm assuming one of those touchdowns will be on special teams. You know what I'm talking about? Danger, my mom can see me with a door-to-door Britannica salesman. Oh, my. So did she buy the encyclopedias then or not? All right. Tonight's question goes like this. In the Jets' 24-3 win over New England in 2024, so just last year, who were the leading rushers for both teams? So I want the leading runner for both the Jets and the Patriots, both running backs. What are their names? As the time is now underway. All right, guys. Hey, I definitely appreciate you hanging out with me tonight for sure. And after we do the trivia, I do have an announcement to make. Pretty big announcement. Yeah, I wanted to wait till a little bit later in the show, and I knew we'd have a few more people here. Danger Zone goes with Ramondre Stevenson as the Patriots running back. Hey, remember, we want a Jets and a Patriots running back. So is it Ramondre Stevenson? It is not. All right. I need a Jets running back. I need a Patriots running back. And do not be Googling it. This is not one that we need to be looking up, right? All right, guys. I'm going to take about 30 seconds. I will be right back. And, you know it is. So I will be back in just one moment. So keep on thinking of it. I'll be right. NCV man, hey, how you doing? Ty Johnson for the Jets. Ty Johnson's been with the Bills for a couple of years. It is not Ty Johnson. Merry Christmas to you. I will be back in about 30. Okay, we are back. Danger. Come on, people. Guess. Yes, please guess. This was week 3. Yep, it was week 3. Danger Zone goes with Breece Hall. Is it Breece Hall? It is not Breece Hall. So we are halfway through the time, and we don't have a correct answer yet. Assist says, I want to say Cook was on the Pats last year for some reason. I think you mean Dalvin Cook, right? I think Dalvin Cook. Okay, is that correct? Not correct. Billy SBC goes for the Jets. Braylon Allen. Is it Braylon Allen? You got it. Braylon Allen was the leading rusher for the Jets in that game against New England. So that is one. All right, so we got the Jets running back. How about the Patriots running back? We know it is not Ramondre Stevenson. Hey, Scott Foster, how you doing? The back that came over from Washington for the Patriots. Maybe. NCV, either Hall or Allen. Yep, we got Allen. David D says Trevion Henderson. Trevion Henderson is a rookie this year, so he was not in the NFL last season. He was playing for the Buckeyes. LFG Billy Dane says, there you go. Danger Zone, was it Danny Woodhead? Was it Danny Woodhead? He guesses a player who retired 10 years ago. It was not Danny Wood. We have 1 minute, guys. We have 1 minute. Who is the Patriots' leading rusher? Straight out of Chadron State. Okay. There you go. So it was not Ramondre Stevenson. It was not Trevion Henderson. Billy SBC. Watch it be Drake May. Is it Drake May? It is not, although he did come into the game. Danger Zone is sticking with the quarterback. He's going with Jacoby Brissett, the starting quarterback in that game. It is not a quarterback. I can tell you that. So, nope, it is not Jacoby Brissett. It is not Drake May. It is not the cheat who is on the screen and has no business calling an NFL game. Yeah, it is not that stiff. 10 seconds left, guys. Oh my gosh. I will say this. I will give you this. Scott Foster, he's on the right track. LeGarrette Blount. Is it LeGarrette Blount? No, he went to Tampa Bay years later, right? Yeah, he was on those Tampa teams. Robinson Jr. Okay, guys, we're not going to get it, unfortunately. All right, time's up. The correct answers are, Scott Foster said, a smidge after the time, but Scott, you came close. It was Braylon Allen and Antonio Gibson, and Gibson is still on the roster for the Patriots. So those are the correct answers. I thought that was a pretty fair question, but because Allen by himself would have been too easy. But Braylon Allen and Antonio Gibson. Okay. All right, guys, I'll tell you what we're going to go ahead and do. I am going to remove that from the studio. We're going to go ahead and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I think what we'll do, running back. I don't know. I've got a couple wheels. Running back, wide receiver, offensive line, secondary, coaches. I think I want to do like 2 short wheels today. So I'll just put a couple of things in here. Running back, wide receiver, offensive line, secondary. I'm just going to put those options in. I just want to see what everybody wants to do. See if the chat's going in a certain direction on which wheel that we want to do. And because these wheels are a little smaller, instead of doing a 10, we'll just do a 5. We'll do like 2 5s. And I think at that point we'll probably call it a night because your boy could use some dinner. Anyway, I do have an announcement to make, and it is very good news. As of Tuesday, as of Christmas Adam, 2 days before Christmas, day before Christmas Eve, because Adam came before Eve, therefore it's Christmas Adam. Thank you very much. I know that is a terrible joke. I'm booing myself on that one. All right, it's a horrible joke, I know. Quarterback, running back. Okay, looks like we're leaning towards running back. Okay. So as of Tuesday, 4 p.m., I can now share that I am starting a new job. I will not be moving or anything like that from where I live. It will be a little bit of a longer commute, though. I'll be commuting about 45 to 50 minutes each way. So that should start sometime in mid-January. Dave, thank you. Thank you, buddy. It was actually right at the end of church when I got the phone call. We were in the middle of singing Silent Night, and the candles were lit and the lights were off. And it turns out the phone call came right during the last verse of Silent Night, amazingly enough. So the plan is I'm planning to keep the show on Wednesdays, but I may need to push it back to either 6:30 or 7 o'clock. I would like to do 6:30 as long as I can get home, get set up. I may wind up having to do 7 just depending on how much prep I have to do. But the plan is probably I don't have a specific start date yet for the job, but I expect it to be in January. So at that point, we will move the show back probably either 6:30 or 7 o'clock. We'll just kind of get a feel for it. But I will try to communicate that with you as best I can. Am I the Jets' new defensive coordinator? Right now, I'm breaking down film in spare time. So, yeah, they don't request my feedback. They just let me watch film just to get, and they provide me with all the liquor I need to get through it. So they just pay me in alcohol, a little Jack Daniels, a little Casamigos, and I get through it pretty well. So, by the way, next week, New Year's Eve. That's right. It is New Year's Eve. I'm thinking for a minute. I don't know if everybody's got plans New Year's Eve, but maybe for old time's sake, I could do the 6 p.m. show, but I don't have big plans as of yet. But I'm thinking maybe we'll go 11. We'll go old school, maybe do a late show, and we could ring in the new year together. It's just a thought. So maybe I'll put a poll out on the channel. But if you have a thought, if you want to do the regular time next week at 6, or maybe do ring in the new year together, and do that at 11 p.m. I'm thinking about maybe doing that just for a little bit of old school when we used to do the really late shows, those like 10 p.m. shows, which were just nuts. Whew. Yeah, I will not be doing those again. But for one night for New Year's Eve, it's like I think it might be fun. So yeah, those are just some updates coming up, and channel's growing too. We're getting close to 1,100 subscribers, so it was tight for a while, but it has been growing. NCV man, 45-minute commute, damn, on Highway 40. No, I'm actually driving south. I don't want to mention where I'm working with the internet, social media, stuff like that. I don't want to give out too much information anymore. I can tell you, though, I am going away from traffic, and I'll be working in kind of a small town. So it's about a 35-mile commute. It's about 35 miles, but it takes about 50 minutes because it's not highway driving. It's a lot of 2-lane roads. So it's just a slow drive. So it's going through some small towns. So it's not going to be that stressful of a drive. So I'm not too worried about that. If I waited a couple weeks, Dane says you could have walked on for the Jets as a running back. I'd have been a little slot receiver. I could have been like I could have been Wes Welker. Yeah, because I am shifty. I can run, and I'm very hard to tackle because I'm very stubborn and hard-headed at times. I could be a little bit of a Wayne Corbett, that kind of guy. I could have done that, if anything. Casamigos Mezcal is awesome, Rusty says. I like the Reposado myself. I did try a margarita with the that was the Añejo. I didn't love that. But I've only had Mezcal once. It wasn't Casamigos. And I didn't care for it. It was a little bit too it burned my throat a little bit. Like I like smoky, but this was like a chimney going into my throat, Whew! But yeah, a lot of people with tequila, they kind of stop at Blanco. But I really like the flavor of a good Reposado. So Casamigos Reposado is my go-to. Scott, do we have to be sober? I'd be disappointed if you were. That might be a night. Yeah, I might make a little. Maybe we'll do an 11 p.m. show next week, and I'll have a little cocktail going, and yeah, we can ring in. Maybe we'll do like I might do a wheel next week. Might do that. Yeah, I'm dancing with the now non-existent New York Jets fight crew, right? Where did they go? That's another reason people don't go to the stadium anymore. At least you had the women to look at, but not now. All right, guys. I think what we're gonna do the running back wheel. That's a pretty good position in Jets history. So we'll give that a shot. And in the meantime, I'm gonna pull up over here Jets Pro Football Reference, one of my favorite websites, and I can then refer to the stats if I need to, and we can rank them. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and with Mezcal, you either like it or you don't, all good. Yeah, I don't want to judge it off one that I had that may not have been as good. One of these days, I will try the Casamigos Mezcal. There's an amazing Mexican restaurant near where I live called Salt and Lime, one of the best Mexican restaurants I've ever been to. They make the best burrito I've ever had. It's a steak and shrimp burrito. I get that with a little bit of guac on it and salsa verde. Very, very fresh ingredients. Fantastic burrito. It's like the best $20. Best burrito. Amazing. That's amazing. Pin the beard on Dane. Yeah, pin the beard on Dane. Yeah, Scott. Yeah, Scott knows about it. Scott would know about it. Yeah, I wish I could pull up the ZZ Top look. It just does not work for me. But okay, let's go ahead and share the screen because we want to get rolling on this. So let's see, Jets receiver. There we go. All right, that should be coming up in just 1 second, and I will hide this. All right, so for this wheel, we don't have any stipulations or anything like that. Okay, there we go. I like how that wheel looks with with the red with the you know what? Let's switch this over a little bit. I feel the need to just switch. Let's see. Media assets. Let's go back up a little bit. I want to put a little more green on this if I can. Yeah, it's a little bit too much red for me, especially considering it's Patriots week. I got an idea. Green scribble. Let's go there and see if I can add the candy cane back on. There we go. Yeah, I think I kind of like that look. Let's see. There we go. And I'm going to drop me down a little bit down there in the corner so that the wheel is a little bit easier to see. So I hope that looks good. All right, guys. So here is the situation. We've got our Jets wheel going on right now. This is the running back wheel. Oh, I see that we want to claim some players. Okay, yeah, we'll still claim the players. Yeah, it's always fun we do that. So we have a whole variety of Jets running backs from across the years, running backs and fullbacks. And we are going to spin this wheel. It will land on a random Jet, and we are going to blind rank the running backs from 5 to 1. From 5 being the worst to 1 being the best, and we'll see how it turns out. So all of these running backs are on here only once. If you would like to go ahead and claim a running back, go ahead and put that one down there in the chat, and that will be your running back for this wheel. So I see Rusty wants Leon Washington. I see Scott has claimed Freeman McNeil. David wants Thomas Jones. Okay, I'll give everybody about 30 seconds, and then I'll claim mine afterwards. See if there's any news here. Ryan Kelly, the Viking center, is on injured reserve. Okay, that's about it. And Danger Zone wants Breece Hall. Is Breece even on the wheel? You know what? What the heck? I'm just I'm gonna sneak him on there. Let's see here. Hide. There we go. But I'm gonna give it a shuffle. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. I think we are ready to start. I'm going to take Chris Ivory. Oh, yeah. It's a little bit green there, but it'll still work. Dane does not want Breece. Okay. All right, guys. Here we go. Let's spin the wheel. We're going 5 to 1, and we're going to do this wheel twice. All right. So 2 running back wheels. Let's do our first spin at 3, 2, 1. I'm going to take your paws off. Let's see. And we land on Super Bowl winner. Woo! Okay, so after spin, we don't need any sound on that. Okay, so Emerson Boozer. So let's pull his numbers up. Third leading rusher in New York Jets history. Played with the Jets from 1966 to 1975, 118 games, ran for 5,135 yards, 52 touchdowns. That is, I believe, second in franchise history. It is. Had a long run of 54. That was his longest run ever, 54 yards. Averaged about 43 and a half yards per game and did have 29 fumbles. So he did have a few fumbling issues. But again, won a Super Bowl, was a very good Jet for about 10 years. And I'm pretty sure a lifelong Jet. As I believe, I don't think he played. Did he play for anybody else? No, yeah, never did. And he was also a two-time Pro Bowler in 1966 and 1968. All right, guys. So Emerson Boozer, guys, where are we going to put him on the list? So, guys, let's see your ranking: 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Yeah, Scott should hit a Boozer on New Year's. Yep, there you go. Yeah, I feel like Matt Snell gets a lot more attention than Emerson Boozer does, you know? All right, I see, let's see, I see a 3. Was Emerson Carlos's dad? Not quite. And keep in mind, guys, we got a lot of good Jets, and we got a lot of good Jets, and we got a lot of crappy Jets on this list. So, including 1 or 2 that are like, who the hell is that? So, all right, Rusty wants to go with a 1. I see a couple of 3s. Okay. Give everybody a few seconds to get their votes in. Okay. All right. So votes going once, votes going twice. I think I'm going to go with the 2 for Emerson Boozer. I think that kind of balances it out. And I'm kind of thinking he's one of the better Jets running backs, just doesn't get quite as much attention. But considering some of the names on here, I'm thinking number 2. So I'm going to say Emerson Boozer is going to be our number 2 running back. Assist. I won't forgive myself if Martin pops up. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go to spin number 2 in 3, 2, 1. And we land on, well, some call him LT. I don't call him LT. I call him LDT because there's only one of those. But LaDainian Tomlinson. So when it comes to LaDainian Tomlinson, it was a quality free agent signing, added a little bit of leadership after I believe Thomas Jones left, and did okay. He did okay. One season in one of his seasons, 2010, he had 914 rushing yards, had 6 touchdowns. Obviously, his best days came with the Chargers, but he played his last 2 years with the Jets, and for that time, he ran for 1,194 yards. 7 touchdowns. Definitely don't think he won any award. Yeah, I don't think he was selected any Pro Bowls or anything like that, right? Yeah. So, but I would say definitely a quality Jet. Rusty going with a 5. Wow. Rusty's tough. Danger with a 4. Scott with a 4. Danger says we need room for a bum. I definitely agree. Yeah, it was a very short run, but it was a good run. I mean, I would even mind a 3, but if you want to go 4, I'm okay with that. Billy's going with a 4 too? Okay. All right. So, I think we're pretty much in agreement on that one. So, number 4 will be Tomlinson. All right, so that leaves spots 1, 3, and 5. All right. Let's go back to the wheel, and let's spin the wheel. In 3, 2, 1. This is spin number 3. And we land on, this is close, we land on Chris Ivory, one of my favorite Jet running backs of all time. His best season with the Jets was 2015 when he ran for 1,070 yards, 7 touchdowns, averaged about 71 yards per game. All right. And for his Jets career, yes, I'm going to pull up some more numbers on Mr. Ivory. So he's 15th all time. This is pretty crazy. He had 16 rushing touchdowns as a Jet in just 3 seasons. That ranks him 15th all time. I don't think that's very flattering on our running game. Yeah, 15th in both yards and touchdowns. And he only played here for 3 seasons. So, yeah, he was in New Orleans. Then he went to the Jets for 3 years, made the Pro Bowl in 2015, then on to Jacksonville, finished his career with Buffalo. And so for his Jets career, 2,724 yards, so about 900 yard, a little over 900 yards per season. 16 touchdowns, about 59 or so yards per game. So, didn't I select Ivory? I did. Yeah, I did select Chris Ivory, didn't I? Hey, yay to me. I did select Chris Ivory. All right. I'm going to put Chris Ivory at number 3. I can't, he wasn't here long enough, and he didn't have quite the level of success that Emerson Boozer did. So I think he is a good fit in between Boozer and Tomlinson. So Chris Ivory will be our number 3. I like where this wheel is going. I really do. All we need is one great Jet and one crappy Jet. Yeah, Rusty, we're going for tree. I know what you're doing, Rusty. I know what you're doing. All right, there we go. Smooth as ivory. All right, let's go to spin number 4. That's right. We need a stud and a dud. You know it, Danger. Here we go. Spin number 4. 3, 2, 1. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? I think we're in good shape, guys. Oh, my God. Roger Vick. Okay, now, I'll go ahead and do the research for us. Roger Vick, who is he? Some of the younger folks might be asking. I don't even remember him. But 6'3", 239 pounds, was a first-round pick of the Jets in 1987 with the 21st overall pick. He lasted with the Jets for 3 years. 3 years with the Jets. 1,231 yards. He did have 9 touchdowns. He also had 12 fumbles. Let's see, about 28 yards per game, averaged under 4 yards per attempt. It did not work out. It did not work. Yeah, definitely one of those litany of first round busts that the Jets have had. So yeah, played for Texas A&M, went on to play for the Orlando Thunder in the World League of American Football. And this is actually this is Pete Rozelle. So when Pete Rozelle made the announcement, this is one of those famous Jet draft moments. The New York Jets first-round selection. Fullback, and a fan screams, "Oh, no! Roger Vick, Texas A&M." So, I mean, I can't say he was a horrible player. He was out of the league after 4 years. But for a first-round pick, oh, my goodness. And, just for fun, I'm going to look up the 1987 NFL draft. Just saying, the Jets picked 21st, right? I'm just curious, who was also available to be taken? Okay, the Jets take Roger Vick at 29, number 22, Harris Barton, a Pro Bowl tackle for the 49ers. 23, another offensive tackle, Bruce Armstrong to the Patriots, Pro Bowler. 26, Jim Harbaugh. We all know who he is. Later on, Tim McDonald, the safety, won a Super Bowl with the 49ers. 35, Christian Okoye, the running back from the Chiefs. Man, oh man, couple other Pro Bowlers, but yeah, not the greatest I've ever seen. Rich Gannon was drafted in the 4th round by the Patriots out of Delaware. Wow. Yeah, 1987 was not the greatest draft that I've ever seen, but there definitely were some good players to be taken. And man, yeah. Oh, Mark Ingram, the wide receiver, that would have been a nice pickup. So. Yeah, definitely not the best draft that I've ever seen, especially past the top 10. That was the draft where Vinny went first overall to Tampa Bay. Yeah, but this is not – and the only Hall of Famer from the class is actually Rod Woodson. All right. So, yep. So Roger Vick is clearly our number 5. All right. 5, Roger Vick. There we go. All right. Here we go. It is time for spin number 5. So far to recap, we've got Roger Vick at number 5, LaDainian Tomlinson at number 4. We've got Chris Ivory at number 3, and we've got Emerson Boozer at number 2. So it's going to take a good Jets running back to beat out Emerson Boozer, but I think we could do it. There's a couple of names I think that could beat him out where the argument could be made. So who's it going to be? Let's find out. Let's make our final spin for this wheel in 3, 2, 1.5. I think this is worthy of a drum roll. 2, 1, spin. And we land on, well, Chris Ivory, so we get to spin again. 3, 2, 1. Oh, gosh. Oh, 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 I feel my lunch coming up. Oh, my gosh. Le'Veon freaking Bell. Oh, man. I don't know about you all. I feel like I need a shower after that one. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. All right, guys, let's try this again. I want to make sure we've got the right names out there. So I'm going to switch. I had Chris Ivory. I'm going to switch over to Lamont Jordan. Let's see. So you guys had, who'd you have here? Leon Johnson, Leon Washington, Brees, Thomas Jones. Okay, so let's do this wheel one more time. But as far as the first wheel goes, not good at all. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take the candy canes off, I think, for a moment. Let's see. There we go. All right, guys, let's do one more round. We'll do running backs one more time, see if we can get it right. Here we go. The first spin in 3, 2, 1. If you'd like to update your running back that is yours, then feel free to throw it in the comments. Okay, so we're going to start with LaDainian Tomlinson yet again. All right, well, we're LDT making a second appearance on our wheel. So we had him at number 4 last time. Do we want to keep him at number 4, or do we want to bump him up to 3? Do we want to drop him down to 5? Guys, what are we doing with LaDainian Tomlinson? Larry David Tomlinson, yes. Yeah, Rusty wants him at 5. Yeah. Rusty's saying Boozer should have been first. You know what, though? Le'Veon Bell at 2 ahead of Chris Ivory or LaDainian Tomlinson, unacceptable. No, Boozer and Ivory got to be ahead of Bell. No doubt about it. All right, chat. Yeah. Go ahead and put your votes in. All right, all right. See the votes are coming in. Very good. And just have a little bit more fun with this one. Let's see here. I'm going to make one change. Last pick. And put any player. Let's do it. Free choice. And we'll do a free choice on that one too. And one more. I just feel like adding stipulations. It's Christmas Eve. I come bearing gifts. Pick left or right. All right, let's give this a shuffle. Matt Ford, Taylor Anderson. Okay. I like that one a little bit more. All right, LaDainian Tomlinson, I'm going to put him back at 4. It was working last time. I'm going to stick with it. All right, here we go. Spin number 2. In 3, 2, 1. There you go. We land on Leon Washington, and I believe Leon had already been selected, right? Yeah, Rusty Spooner. Rusty had Leon Washington. So, Rusty, you get to put Leon Washington anywhere on the wheel that you want. 1, 2, 3, or 5. Where would you like to put number 29? Yeah, Leon was never the feature running back for the team. Yeah. His best season was 2006, 650 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. And if you look at his career as a running back, he's 20th on the Jets list with 1,782 yards, 13 rushing touchdowns, and his longest run was 61 yards. Okay, we are anxiously awaiting what Rusty's going to do. Where's Rusty going to put number 29? 3. He was an awesome returner and a wild card running back. Okay, so Leon Washington gets spot number 3. So 3. Uh-oh. Yeah, we're still here. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so we've got 3 and 4 taken. Rusty, if you'd like to take another running back on the wheel, feel free to do that. I'll give everybody a moment. Yeah, I have Lamont Jordan. I know Thomas Jones is claimed. Breece Hall's claimed. Leon Johnson inexplicably is claimed. All right, so we got 3 and 4 filled. I think we're in a good situation so far. Let's go on to spin number 3. Rusty wants Matt Snell. All right, I got you. 3, 2, 1. Spin number 4 takes us to. Well, this pick didn't work out all that well. Cedric Houston. Who is Cedric Houston? You might be wondering. Well, not quite as glamorous a bust as Roger Vick, but it wasn't all that far off. So Cedric Houston was drafted in the 6th round back in 2005 by the Jets. He did have, I will say this, he did have 7 rushing touchdowns, 676 career yards. The issue was he had a thyroid condition that caused him fatigue problems. He was the backup to Curtis Martin, and then when Derek Blaylock, you remember that name, broke his foot, Houston became the second running back. And he did have a car crash in April 2006. And then 2007, he left the Jets for personal reasons, and he decided to quit football to return to Tennessee to earn his degree. So it's not like he was released because he wasn't a good player. He chose to leave, but he did do okay. I mean, in 2006, 5 touchdowns in 8 games. So not bad, but still, I think for the purpose of this wheel, I don't know. I don't think he could go anywhere but 5. Yeah. So Cedric Houston will be number 5. It looks like the chat agrees on that one. So, all right. So 5 is Houston. All right. So, hey, how many other Jet shows out there are name dropping Cedric Houston? That's right. Only here at New York Sports WickerMedia on Wednesday Night Live, baby. Okay. Let's go to spin number 4. We need some good running backs, guys. We got to fill in spots 1 and 2. So no whammies. Spin number 4. Oh my God, Rusty, what have you pulled? What black magic is Rusty pulling out on Christmas Eve? He said Matt Snell, and indeed, we have landed on one of the best Jets there ever was. Matt probably should have been the MVP of the Super Bowl. Played for the Jets from 1964 to 72, 4,285 rushing yards. That's 4th all time, 24 touchdowns, had a career long of 60 yards. And if you go by the single season, yeah, Rusty, yep, this is all you, brother. So his best individual season, yeah, Curtis Martin has most of them, But Matt Snell in 1964 ran for 948 yards and 5 touchdowns. Number one on Matt Snell. I got no problem with that. I got no, well, not yet anyway. All right. Number one, Matt Snell, who is still apparently bitter at the Jets, unfortunately, who refuses to go back for any of the reunions. Okay, guys, I just got to say this real quick. It has been fun. We've been on the air now for almost 2 hours on this Christmas Eve. Definitely take some time to be still, to be quiet, take it all in. Remember the reason for the season. I know it's a cliche, but it's true. And just take some time to rest, to be still. That's something I've been learning in the last month, is it's okay at times to be still and to reset and to refocus. It's a good thing to do. Deep breathing, prayer, whatever it may be. It goes a long way. And we all have to remember to do that. Okay, so just to recap, on our countdown, number 2, Cedric Houston. Number 5, number 4, LaDainian Tomlinson. Number 3, Leon Washington. Number 1, Matt Snell. And for the second straight wheel, it comes down to one spin to see if we can have a winning wheel. So for our final spin tonight, we are going to spin this wheel in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll stop on Johnny Hector. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So Johnny Hector is actually the Jets' 5th all-time running back in yards, 4,280. Played with the Jets from 1983 to 1992. His 41 rushing touchdowns are 3rd all-time, only behind Curtis Martin and Emerson Boozer. He actually has more touchdowns than Freeman McNeil, which is pretty impressive. His best individual season, let's see, does he have any, in terms of yards, does he have any that are up there? I don't see. It looks like his best was 1989, 702 yards and 3 touchdowns. So to quote Mike and the Mad Dog, he was a compiler. He's clearly a compiler. He did have, in 1987, he had 11 rushing touchdowns. 1988, he had 10 touchdowns. 1986, he had 8. So I'd say a pretty dang good, productive Jet, right? So, Dave, we're only going 1 through 5. I got to say this, guys. I can't rank Johnny Hector ahead of Matt Snell. I'm good there. But would I rank him ahead of Leon Washington? I got to say, I feel good about it. So I'm going to say it. Oh, let me go to the comments. Number 2, Johnny Hector. I think, guys, on this Christmas Eve, we have a winning wheel. That's right. Yep, I feel good with this wheel, and I am indeed calling this one a winner. So, as I remove this hat, yeah, I'd say this was a good wheel, Rusty. I really do. Yeah. So we don't get a lot of wins, but we didn't get the trivia, but we got a winning wheel. So I'll call it a successful night. Yes, Rusty made some good picks. Yes, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I am going to call it a night. I will be back here. I'll put a poll up just to see if people have a general feel, if they want to do the regular time or for New Year's Eve, if we want to do an 11 p.m. show. And, we can do a little countdown or stuff like that. And maybe I think it'll be fun. Bring the beverage of your choice because let's be honest, those New Year's shows for the most part suck. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. David loves the banjo music. maybe when we do the countdown, we'll bust out the banjo. How else would you rather ring in a new year than with some banjo? That's all I'm saying. All right, everybody, for real. Everybody have a great night. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the rest of your week. Don't let the Jets ruin your life. And as always, I will see you back here. And of course, the confidence picks, I will have those up in the morning, probably like late morning. I will post my confidence picks video. Be on the lookout for that. I'm now in the 90% level, so the picks are getting better and better. And by Friday, I will have the Jets-Patriots preview video up. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night, everybody.